what most seekers don't realize is life transition can be such a phenomenal transformation and spiritual growth. It's true that life is a big life transformation, transition, if we go deep into the journey. So in this video satsang, we're going to look at the 5 major key insight secret that are a little bit untraditional, how to go through a life transition. Because life transition, as you know, most of you, we live in a world of duality, and existentially is like we go through life, it's from one transition to another transition. Either your house burned down, or you graduated from university, or you give birth to a baby or a business, you go through menopause, or you lose a beloved pet, animal companion or spouse, or a beloved in your family, or you have a car crash, or face a major illness, or even move in a foreign country, or maybe even move down the block and sell your house and buy a new house. It doesn't matter. Or you go through puberty, or you go through at the end of your life and it's time to retire. Life is a whole grand transition. And for most people, the challenge and the problem is the tendency is to put resistance through it. For people who live unconsciously, unmindfully, and it comes as a shock, like if life will always be the same, but the reality is you cannot just keep yourself covered in the cocoon of comfort and pleasure all the time, because life will shake you, will show you that it's from one transition to the next, and eventually prepare you to the last final life transition from embody to disembody. But if you go deep into a life transition, the benefits are so huge. To live fully in bliss and happiness and joy and peace. Maybe not always in bliss, because some life transition can be painful. But the question, beloved, is how do you go through it? How do you attend to a life transition? That makes the whole difference from suffering unnecessary and going through maybe even through misery and going through hardship that's not necessary. And if I look at my life guide, the life transition is like going through a major illness, which I'm going to share a little bit of the story about the breast cancer I went through, which was very advanced. But let's look at what is the first one. And you know that existence is ever changing. Everything around us is always changing. Is how do we adapt? How resilient are we? How open, and especially your attitude, and how are you working on your divine garden, which Devi Mayi Ma talks a lot about that, how you're transforming your energy and how you're transcending so many aspects of your subtle body. So the first one, the first insight, and I speak here with tremendous life experience. Some of you who have read my book, Becoming the Light, Realize Your True Enlightened Nature, you know my life has been very unusual for most people. And I'm hoping to finish the second book very soon, which is like second part of Becoming the Light, which you could see what it's so phenomenal to be going through this spiritual awakening movement now, and Kundalini ascension and being on the spiritual path. What the phenomenal blessing that can bring in one life. So the first one, beloved, is that you really need to take the time to look at your life. Is God, the divine, whatever name we choose to call, the supreme absolute intelligence, because I'm careful, you know, with the word God. It has become such a corrupted word in a way that when you talk about God, people think right away about religion. But as you know, spirituality is beyond religion. It has no dogma, no philosophy, no doctrine. So I prefer using the word divine, and but for you maybe God resonate better, or here in the yogic tradition, for as a yogi we call it the Divine Mother. It doesn't matter, or we can call it Hala or Brahma, pure consciousness. So it's asking you, and your own spirit asking you, to take a pause, to stop, to really take a good look at your life. What's happening? What is your own spirit, your soul is telling you? What is the divine telling you within your own being? Because we've been guided. When you connect deeply, you've been guided. And a life transition, some life transitions are natural, like, for instance, being born, going to school, graduation, getting married, getting divorced for most people in today's age, unfortunately, and having children. Of course, we're speaking generally speaking, but there's some life transition, and dying, which is a very important one, because often people think, oh, it's happening to them, but they don't realize it's going to happen to this one day. And that's the incredible insight about, and the beauty about life transition, is the ultimate life transition is we're going to die. And life transition prepare us for that life transition from being embodied to being disembodied, and to shed this garment that doesn't serve us anymore. And so here in the first insight is to really stop and look and self-introspect with those life transitions that are the unusual one, not the natural one. And I will give you an example here. A major life crisis such as your house burning down. This is not normal. It's not, it's part of life, yes, but it's not a natural, organic progression of life transition from what I just described. Another one would be a life crisis, like, not a life crisis, because yes, life transition can come as a shock. Most people put a lot of resistance to it, which causes even more suffering. And like I said, you retreat inside and then you make yourself miserable. But a life transition, like a major illness, is not necessarily an organic, normal. We were not created to be sick. The divine really wants us to be healthy, joyous, blissful, to abide, to live in our true nature. And there is no reason, if you take care of this body temple, there is no reason why you should go through a major illness. It is not natural, in my view and what I see. But that could be, we won't go there. That could be another satsang just talking about that. But let's stick to this unnatural life transition called dizzy. That is a big one. And so that one will propel you and bring you back inside. And you got to stop, no matter what it is. If it's a happy or unhappy life transition, if it's a normal, organic or not necessarily normal, organic life transition, this is a time to really look deep inside and contemplate. What is your own soul and spirit telling you? Look at your life and the direction how you're going. Often life transition is a wake-up call telling you you really need to look at what's happening right now here, and has a specific guidance for you why you're going through that specific life transition. And you need to examine that, not necessarily in self-introspection, but more in reflection and contemplation, and going deep into yourself. And this brings us to number 2. You got the secret here. You got to really surrender everything to the divine. Everything. Have trust, have faith. And this is not an act, it's a process. Because when you empower yourself in being in a state of surrender, of abandoning yourself, there's nothing sweeter than that. That will be done. It's a higher intelligence that it takes over you, and that you can relax and be within yourself. And trust that you're being guided, and you listening, that your soul and your spirit are listening deeply to what is this divine spiritual guidance here, and that you can fully trust and have faith. My life has been full of incredible life transition. Of course, organic one. All human beings, this is a universal phenomenon, but the life transition that are not so normal, I have had so many. And the Kundalini awakening is a phenomenal life transition, because we all know a life transition brings about tremendous drastic changes, right, in your life. But what most seekers are not aware is that is a time where you're processing a lot of karma, a lot of karmic structure, and you're burning and purifying a lot of karma. So that's why you really need to nurture your divine garden. Be good to yourself. Take the time off. And so we were addressing that the surrender is so important. And there is an upcoming video satsang right on that subject. Click on it, because it's so insightful. It will really give you epiphany, insight, and realization about what it is, surrender. It brings about, it's abandoning yourself to the divine, because surrender beget an expansion of consciousness, will bring deep inner peace within your own being. And so the third insight, secret, is chant mantra. Bring about a change, transcending the mental body. Remember, we talked about that in many satsang. The 5 envelope, the 5 sheets, the mana maya kosha. And if you don't know what they are, you can look into this video, Gaining Mastery Over Yourself. I talk in depth about what they are and how you can transcend them to completely go into your bliss body, because there are 5 of them. So here you want to transcend your pranic body, and you want to transcend also your mental body, the mana maya kosha. And so chanting mantra is very effective, because every mantra is a sacred sound, and every sound has a form, every form has a vibration. So when you chant them out loud, and eventually whisper them, and eventually with practice mentally, it has a whole effect. The vibration is a higher vibration that has an effect over your subtle body, and allows you to transcend your mental body and your pranic body, and to tap into other mana kosha, and to transcend and to go into your bliss body, the Ananda Maya kosha. And the fourth insight, secret here is about to take the time to transform your energy. I always bring this up because it's so crucial and so important. And you go to the ocean and you take a wind bath. Like today is very, very windy, and it's great because it cleared the aura. And so it changed your energy. Cold shower change your energy. You want a quick remedy, you go take a cold shower, it will change your aura. You go in the wind by the ocean, will change, clear all that negative energy. And doing more, which lead us to the fifth insight, which is more sadhana. If you're not doing sadhana, sadhana just means spiritual practices, kriya yoga, hatha yoga, guided meditation such as nidra yoga. Here, for life transition, doing nidra yoga is excessively important. So is dhyana yoga, my dhyana meditation, and dharana meditation. This is all on our channel. Just go on the playlist on guided meditation for nidra yoga. Very powerful meditation there, because what nidra yoga does, my guided meditation, they bring you into an incredible state of relaxation, rejuvenation, and restorative. It will change your energy. It will alter your brain wave from the tendencies to have that agitated mind, right? What we call the beta wave. Then it will bring you into the Zen wave. What I call the Zen wave is the alpha wave. It's a more quiet, slower frequency amplitude. And then in Theta wave, which is even slower, calmer. And then you can start transcending your, all the mana Maya kosha we talked about. The physical body is the first one, the Anand Maya kosha, and then the pranic body, the Prana Maya kosha, and the Maya kosha, which is the mental body. And then you will go into such a deep state of rejuvenation. And each Nidra Yoga guided meditation address certain aspect, healing relationship, or one is in the womb of creation. Look at them in the playlist. You have so many choices. I highly recommend you do 1 or 2 a day. If you're going through a major life transition, do 2 a day. And some of them are short. You will love them. You will notice your whole being will take you into such a deep state. I have some of my follower and disciple, they say, Devi Ma, it's amazing. It's like I'm going out of, it's like an out-of-body experience. And that's what you need when you go through a life transition. Because when you agree, they are so stressful. And by the way, I want to ask you that question. When it comes to life transition, what are your emotions and your feelings? Write it down in the comment section. Is that for you fear that comes up, or anxiety, or anguish, or sorrow, or maybe for you is a big relief, like maybe in the case of a divorce. I'm just giving you an example here. But if I look back at my life, I want to tell you a little bit, because I didn't mention, when I was talking about abandoning and surrendering, for me, without that, I would have never survived and thrive and be a walking miracle like I am today. I was telling you a little bit from my book. Highly recommend you read it if you haven't. becoming the light, realize your true enlightened nature. When I was diagnosed with advanced breast cancer, which had advanced stage 3, which had metastasized in my lymph node, it was spiritual ascension. So this is attitude. Attitude is very important. I looked at it as a spiritual ascension. And that night I was alone. My ex-husband was traveling a lot in those days. And I was terrified of chemotherapy. And I knew I had to go through it. Again, it's a very long story. I can spend hours telling you the story. That's why I refer you to my book. But I will never forget when I look at myself in the mirror and I knew I was going to lose my hair. I was terrified of losing my hair, my eyebrow, my eyelashes, not only what the chemotherapy was going to do to my body temple. And I suddenly had a realization and I collapsed to the ground, literally fell to the ground, sobbing, screaming. And I said to God, I said, why have you, I don't know the words in English, why is this happening to my being? I need you. And I was like in deep sorrow. And I felt this fire. And my Kundalini was very awakened in those days. And I went into a deep state of surrender and abandoning myself. And that night when I went to sleep, I put the blanket over, I was alone, and I accepted what I had to face. And I knew this was my life transition, my karma. And I looked, I felt it was the grace, the blanket of divine love and grace. And in that surrender, in that abandoning myself, and that trust, that faith, I knew whatever happened, it was for the highest, and I trusted that. And later on, you will know that I almost died, a very severe anaphylactic shock reaction to the chemotherapy. And that story is so phenomenal. This is a long story, and that came weeks later. And it was a miracle that happened. And it was purely grace from God. I'm still here today to share everything and to be here for you, beloved, to grow and expand and help on your journey. And so in deep surrender and changing your energy, working on your divine garden, as we spoke, in all those different insights, which lead us to the last one, more sadhana. More sadhana when you go through life transition, because some life transition can be major crisis. Losing a beloved one can turn out to be a major crisis. For most people it is. So is a diagnosis of cancer, which is very advanced. It's often can be a death sentence. For many people, they see it that way. It does not need to be that way. It depends how advanced it is. And so here, sadhana, spiritual practices, beside the Nidra Yoga, the meditation, is we talk about the mantra, right? Remember, mantra, chanting mantra is part of sadhana also. It can be any mantra. Om Namah Shivaya is the most powerful one. And you will be empowered in that mantra in a lot of our satsang, drinking bliss divine satsang on the live stream. I highly recommend you do many of them. And because we do a lot of meditation, like the last one we did, which will be coming up in, you can click on it, about Kundalini Ascension. And that one, we do the empowerment with dhyana meditation. And so doing more meditation, dhyana meditation, daily practices, daily Nidra Yoga guided meditation, Kriya Yoga, Hatha Yoga, walking mindful practices. If you haven't done the series also on mindful practices, it's right there in the playlist. It will come up also at the end of this video. There are many different yogic practices. And the third, in that series, the third video, satsang, is a yogic practices, help you completely change your energy, your pranic body. And so you need to increase those practices to change your whole energy and to make a distance from your mind. You will see a drastic impact on how you will sail through those life shifts. It will help you heal much faster. It will help you nurture your body temple, your soul, and your spirit, and help you gain insight, realization, and even revelation and epiphany about those life transitions. It will make life joyous, more joyous under the circumstances. And I could say at least it will alleviate unnecessary pain and suffering. I learned that because I've gone through so many life transitions, and as a mystic, as a yogini, and spiritual guide, you could say, I have gone through so many life transitions. The only one I haven't gone yet is the body temple is still here, but I have come to dying so many times, and near-death experience. So a life transition is an incredible opportunity to come closer to the source, to connect deeply with our Creator, and to receive divine guidance. How are you directing your life? It's a time to nurture your being, a time to experience your true nature, and to address certain things about your life, and to remember that every life transition brings you closer to the final life transition from embodied to disembodied. And so with all those secret insight, this will empower you to shift and sail through them, navigate through those life transitions more peacefully, more gracefully, and I could say even more joyfully, because don't think a life transition is always painful. When I went through my cancer journey, it was one of the greatest blessings of my life. And you will read, if you read about it, I can tell you even right now, I went through it blissfully and joyfully. And people didn't even know. I mean, even I was very sick, and so radiating, no air, no eyelashes, no eyebrows, and I looked like a monk, and I was in a state of ecstasy, and I went through it very beautifully because the fear of death was gone. That was the greatest blessing for this one, what we call abhineshya in the yogic tradition. So every life transition can bring a tremendous blessing. And it's for you, beloved, to discover that through cultivating that divine garden within yourself, through the more sadhana you're going to do, and experiencing more of your true nature, true your life transition. So embrace life transition. Instead of fearing them, embrace them and see how can you be transformed and how can you grow. So write down in your comment section right now, which life transition are you facing right now? Or maybe is there one you went through and that really brought about a great life lesson? Because there can be great life lesson too. Or maybe this life transition brought you an incredible realization or a certain transformation. Write it in the comment section and like this video and come to our Drinking Bliss Divine Satsang also every second Monday of the night, Monday night of the month, excuse me, on Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And also follow us on the community tab, because wisdom is shared every day that will uplift you and inspire you. And share this satsang with your family and your friends if you find it valuable. So, and your comment and your question are so important on the channel because it helps everyone. When you ask a question, it empowers everyone who reads your comment, because if they're profound question, I promise you I will answer it. And so I'm here for you, and namaste. And remember, existence is ever changing, and you are a beautiful being of life and of light and divine love, constantly growing and blossoming. So keep attending your garden and click on the next video, go into the playlist and come back on this video satsang and share your experiences with the Nidra Yoga meditation. And don't forget to do this upcoming satsang to receive the empowerment of the Dhyana meditation, which is on the Kundalini Ascension. I send you all my love and grace and blessing.